Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Hi everyone. In this lesson we will learn about the present simple tense. How many ways do you know to use the present simple? The present simple doesn't just have one or two uses. There are more than 8 uses. But in this lesson I will just show you 5 uses. We use the present simple tense when we want to talk about permanent situation. Let's look at 2 examples. I live in Morocco and I am living in Morocco. For the first example, I live in Morocco with the present simple tense. I'm not just living in Morocco for few days or few weeks. I live in Morocco permanently for a long time. If I say I'm living in Morocco with the present continuous, that means that the situation is temporary. Maybe I'm just living in Morocco for a short period of time. Then I will go to my own country. We use the present simple tense to talk about things which are permanent or at least a long lasting. Let's move on to the next uses of the present simple. We use the present simple to talk about routine, something you do regularly. For example, I wake up at 7 o'clock every day. I eat my breakfast at 7:30. So, wake, eat, these verbs are in the present simple tense because they are talking about a regular activity, a routine. We can also use the present simple tense to talk about facts, a truth known by experiences or observations. For example, the sun rises in the east. The sun sets in the west. The water boils at 100 degrees and freezes at 0 degrees. These things are generally true because they aren't just true at one moment. They were true in the past and true in the present, and they will be true in the future. There is another use of the present simple tense. We use the present simple tense to talk about schedules. Schedule is detailed plan of what someone is going to do and when they will do it. It tells us when something is going to happen. We use the present simple tense to talk about things in the future which are on a timetable or schedule. This includes things like trains, planes, and other public transport. We use it also for meetings, classes, and so on, things like this. For example, our class starts at 8 o'clock. The flight leaves at noon. The flight always leaves at noon. It has a schedule. What time does the meeting start? In all of these sentences, we are talking about the future. But because we are talking about timetables or schedules, we use the present simple. There is another situation when we can use the present simple tense. We use the present simple tense when we want to talk about habits or things that are repeated again and again. We can use something called frequency adverbs like never, rarely, sometimes, often, always. These words are used to describe how often something is happening. For example, I always read the newspaper in the morning. This means I read the newspaper 100% of time. The second example, I usually come home after work. The most of the time when I finish my work, I come home. I sometimes go for a run in the morning. Sometimes mean 50% of the time. I rarely listen to music. Rarely means I don't listen to music very much, maybe a little bit, but not a lot. I never play tennis on the weekend. Never means 0%. I don't play tennis at all. All of that show you when to use the present simple tense. But now we will learn how we form the present simple tense in affirmative and negative and interrogative. First, let's take a look at some examples. I hate watching TV. She hates watching TV. You wash your hands. She washes her hands. I go to gym every Sunday. He goes to gym every Sunday. I try to solve the exercise. He tries to solve the exercise. My brother plays football every weekend. Let's take a look at the first example. I hate watching TV. This is an affirmative sentence in the present simple tense. We will see how we can form this sentence. First, I put I, which is the subject. Then we add hate, which is the stem, or the base form of the verb to hate. Then the rest of the sentence. The second example, she hates watching TV. The verb is to hate. We put the subject she, then the base form of the verb or the stem, hate, then we add an s in the end. Then the rest of the sentence. But for the first example, I hate watching TV, we don't add an s in the end of the hate. Why? There is a rule to follow. We add s to the base form of the verb to form the third person singular, he, she, and it. I hate, you hate, he hates, she hates, it hates, we hate, you hate, they hate. Now, let's look at these examples. You wash your hand. She washes her hands. I go to gym every Sunday. He goes to gym every Sunday. We add as to the base form of the verb when we want to form the third person singular, he, she, and it, to the verb that end in double s, sh, ch, x, and o. But for the verb that end in consonant plus y, we change the y to ies. I try to solve the exercise. He tries to solve the exercise. If the verb ends with vowel plus y, we just add s in the end as usual. Like the example, my brother plays football every weekend. That's all what we have to do in the affirmative sentence. For the negative sentence, we put the subject plus the helping verb to do in the present simple tense, plus not, plus the base form of the verb, plus the rest of the sentence. For example, I play football every day. The negative form of this sentence is I don't play football every weekend. You don't play football every weekend. He doesn't play football every weekend. She doesn't play football every weekend. It doesn't play football every weekend. You don't play football every weekend. We don't play football every weekend. And they don't play football every weekend. In the end of this lesson, we will take a look at the interrogative form and how can we make it. First, we put the helping verb to do in the present simple tense, plus the subject plus the base form of the verb plus the rest of the sentence. And we don't have to forget the question mark. For example, I play video games. The interrogative of this sentence is: do I play video games? Do you play video games? Does he play video games? Does she play video games? Does it play video games? Do you play video games? Do we play video games? Do they play video games? Finally, in order to understand this lesson, and in the next video, I will make some exercise to help you understand the present simple tense very well. Thank you for watching.